in the fight against sexual gender-based violence issues and the plan them we get for the sector.
The first issue we will look at now the program this Wednesday morning. For sake of the riots we happen inside May this year na Tombo community, make the Deputy Minister of Youth Affairs, Gud Salone, don't go give support to victim them na Tombo community and engage the young people and stakeholder them for preach peace so that young people them not go involve in violence at that community they again. Well, Gud Salone talk this inside one consultative meeting we all na Tombo community for sake of this riot to be happening. Karifa to Conte gets more on this and he go report.
May 6 this year, serious kuskas be happen at the Tombo community. Usa young people be take over the streets, well property and be wound plenty people them. This incident be happen because some fishermen them be raised concern say they want to make government reduce some party measure them. Where be tap the way then they do their normal fishing business. From that time day to now, different organizations them don't they go na this community for make them not involved by violence business and give them support. Now this make the Ministry of Youth Affairs be decide for go na this community and support some part the young people them with thing for it and talk to them about non-violence activity them. Gud Salone, now the Deputy Minister of Youth Affairs, talk more about this.
Unionists can recall on May 6 the violence incident that place in Tombo, and we are also there on that particular day to see how we can mitigate against the rapid spark of violence. So we are here today again to engage the youth on consultative dialogue on conflict management and conflict prevention. And that is why we hire a consultant or an expert in conflict management on one-day workshop through consultative face-to-face dialogue with the youth and stakeholders to look at the fundamental root cause of what really triggered the so-called riot or the so-called violence. And the support we give basically is just targeting the victim. Some of the youth who are victims during the crisis. We look at it also, this also has to do with also livelihood. You understand? You cannot just come engage youth into one-day consultative dialogue without providing for their livelihood, without looking at the means of their survival also. So that is why we ensure that we provide a basic livelihood support to the victims of Tombo, the youth at that particular incident.
Gud Salone continue for talk about some party them when they find out say they cause the violence in the Tombo community.
Miscommunication, propaganda message, gap between the youth and the stakeholders, and also when we go deep into the issues, we realize that there is problem between the youth and the harbor market. Some of the youth are looking at it that they are not totally involved collection of the money that is being collected from the fishermen at the sea, and the youth are not benefiting, but rather they are just the workers at the harbor, but they are not benefiting direct. So we also saw that as one of the fundamental root cause that triggered the violence. That is why we are here. We have engaged them into a one-day consultative dialogue, and we have looked at these issues that we are pointed out by them, and also we are going back to the drawing board. Already we have also, through the consultative dialogue, we have appointed a youth ambassador to work in collaboration with the district DYC lady to see how they can champion youth activity and to see how they can bridge the gap between the elders and the youth in Tombo also.
Where in be they talk, the project manager at the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Madala, I say the ministry don't implement the youth in fishing project where they benefit 1,400 youths them where they into fishing.
The youth in fishing project is not new in this country. I can call them an old new project. We don't realign them to the new direction agenda for see how young people they think. We want to achieve economic diversity, economic vibe. The youth in fishing project then are 7 districts, including this Tombo community. We they Kujam, we they Pont, we they Mayamba, we they Gambia, Loco, Western area, rural and urban. We don't construct as of now 70 boats. We currently construct Tombo area boat at Kentia. Anybody go Kentia, they see 10 boats there. Where they go there, not to only for Tombo. Levels not say when they build roads for Tombo, and not million at Tombo. Both Western area, rural, urban. Where they say Tombo, you get John Ube, you get Ken. This project is for only young people and you know the fishing. We don't go say because you know youth now Honda you ride and give boat. Near respect them. But the cost of the fishing, if you get a boat, it is value. This project they get 1,400 jobs direct for young people.
Where this make youth them na this community. Talk about the thing them where they cause violence na the community.
Mina Mr. Ibrahim, but what I understand is to move politics. I the most important thing where the
most prominent in this community. And it go look at 100% na him because wait. Tombo, when I come today, Mr. Honorable Vice Minister of the Youth. First of all, before anyone are able to say to the youth them, when I find the time for call meeting to the stakeholders them. When I try at least for make them into one. This community now see if you party A, me the party B, we party B man so me picking up or expect you because all this inside. So now fed for a minute to put them there first and one. Then let two, this riot happen, then send a video youth them what steps to apologize to the government. Then arrest the youth leader, go time then a cell. But like tomorrow when the program come, then no one know no sabi answer. Then they give them say come here, we don't recognize you as youth. Then they do an aya. Now when I talk to say then they create 1,400 jobs them for youth where they don't build the boat them. After where they don't build them boats and edition, now them go come, now staple and they go call for a meeting. You know what's no youth mandate. It they happen at this community. Now then so get for shape them boats and we not get forget. Companies them they open aya. We the indigenous of this community will not get access to her. We know they work, they employ every day. Then they carry people them far away for kind of play at this community. And then once and they'll really use them, we get them. Them plenty. So if they come for on access to really use them, really big una please when youth business come straight una find the youth chairman, if they will recognize it, then you say they suffer. Let not be political influence. Say becoming a party B, where business come, the party B stakeholder them for fame. If you tell party B stakeholder now in your picking every party B and the points. And no points party A, even though the party A are youth.
Then people here end up call on government for push the coffee order from 7:30 to the normal coffee order na the country for Radio Democracy. Mina Karifa to concern the reports.
All right, we continue with the program. Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from 98.1 FM. Well, this morning we can look at the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs, also different projects and the way they get for they do, and one of them now the male involvement in the fights against sexual and gender-based violence. Well, like I said earlier on this morning, we get the pleasure to get the minister for the first time for me be minister after about 6 months. Well, the new minister, Madam Mansi Tarawali, and he gets 15-year experience in leadership. He also gets 10 years of work per woman and girl picking business. He gets masters in project management. He don't be director on a London Development Agency. And well, over the last 6 years, he worked in Stops, and then he ended up be country director in Stops. Well, this morning I want to welcome Madam Mansi Tarawale again. Good morning.
Good morning, Asma. Good morning, listeners.
President Bio be divide the Ministry of Social Welfare now, who say the Gender and Children's Affairs now don't be a standalone ministry. Now, tell me waiting a debate, waiting specifically the Ministry of Gender get for the look at.
Thank you, Asma. You can fumble and go remember say February 2019, President Bio declared a state of emergency on rape. And October of that same year, of 2019, the Sexual Offences Amendment Act came into force. The new ministry then been divided and create a Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs in December of that same year. January 2020 now become operational. So we don't day in operation now, fully functioning for about 6 months. We don't day now for about 6 months fully operational. Now when we come in, the first thing we do as the minister of a new ministry, now for look at what we priorities then go be. And we priorities then for this year, now really 4 key priorities then. And so priority 1, now for respond, now for prevent sexual and gender-based violence. Priority 2, now for respond to gender and sexual and gender-based violence. Priority 3, now women's economic empowerment. And priority 4, now child protection. Now when you look at Dandy, somebody will ask, say, why you separate even sexual gender-based violence and get prevention, and then you also get response. Really, ideally, the Sexual Offences Act, the Amendment Act, now for stop the sexual gender-based violence. We really know one for respond. We really know how for begin put all the other structure there in place where we get for put in place and we they do them. But we really know how for do and they what we want for doing for pay attention to prevention may not happen in the first place. So that the pikin no go suffer in the first place. So then they really na then they we want for do. And for do that we develop a male involvement strategy. The male involvement strategy was launched on the 8th of March, International Women's Day. We research show we say, Boku country then we don't combat sexual gender-based violence, then use male involvement. Then use man them for advocates rather than woman them for advocates. The evidence shows say man them are better influenced by other man them. So therefore, if you use bobo them as champions, you use them as advocates, you use man them as advocates, you pick them out, you select them, you train them, then go into the community for go advocates to then man them, it brings about change. So we start for Dudandi, and really in some communities then we be not begin for see some small change. But then COVID came, and then so sort of social distancing and for maintain the prevention measures, we get for put a halt on them. But at the same time, we know say it takes time for change behavior. So because it takes time for change behavior, we put in place there now structures there for respond to the sexual gender-based violence, because you not go just say no more I they do thing they no more for prevent, because prevention not they happen tomorrow, then they stop the behavior tomorrow. So because of that, we also begin for put with structures there in place. And I'm sure say as you know, we don't put the rape line when a 24-hour line, it is on. At the same time, it's 116. It is free. It is free from all networks, from AfriCell, from Orange, and even from QCell.
So let me look at the issue we get for do with the male involvement, where you say don't work out well for other countries them na the world. When una begin practice that na Salone, we don't really see any change towards the fight against sexual and gender-based violence, where demand themselves they encourage them for come on board.
We have two strong organizations when Fine Sierra Leone and MAGE. Then professionals in male engagement strategy. Then they do certain areas then where some communities then we already you don't begin see dent in them. But what it's about prevention, it's about change in somebody's behavior. So basically you go talk to the person, you go explain to her the damage way this they do to the person, to the individual, to the family, to the community, and to the country. You they try for make it change in behavior. So not a one-day business. It takes time for change that behavior day. And so yes, it works because we don't see them. You don't walk in about other country there, so we don't see say the evidence is there. People then don't use that same principle there for even family planning uptake. They don't see say where they go through male engagement, where they go through the man them, then they see an uptick in family planning. So we know that the principle works. What we need is now time for we scale her up so that we can able for saturate the country with man them as advocates there for talk about this and for start for see behavior then they change.
Well, if you listen to the program, you listen to Good Morning Salone, and at the program this morning, we get the Minister of Gender. They talk about the ministry and within the ministry don't they do for improve on the 4 key areas. Then we are the main priority now. We are prevention, response, and also women economic empowerment, child protection. Now, I go to the child protection straight off because, as you know, and you get the priority area there. So we see incidents of rape, we see everybody respond, they come out and so and talk for rape. Now as a ministry directly responsible for picking and woman them, waiting on a response in with regards the incidents of different sexual penetration them in the country, especially the one them we don't come recently.
This fight here so as a collective fight. When you look at sexual gender-based violence, or we even look at for raise a child, boku elements then come into not to just pass the law and then we sit down and we're not doing anything. Yesterday I talk and say we have 20,000 street children. One day anoyeri anybody come at my office and tell me, say, help me look for me picking wogo loss. We get with the yeri stories them of girl picking when a 5-6 year old uncle de wasam. You mama ni papa di. So the responsibility not to we no more. We are passing the laws and we're going to implement the laws. That I can assure you. But we also need everybody else for play them part, including the parents. So what we can do now, what will not be planned for do, but we can't do and now it is now a plan that we need for putting is a parenting strategy. We are working, we don't discuss them with UNICEF, and UNICEF is going to support us. We'll do a parenting strategy and start doing parenting classes across the country. Let people understand within the Child Rights Act, first of all, mean, and then within are their own responsibility with them born picking. Because you're not going to born you picking, a 5-year-old you see on a street 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock and a net in one. You're not going to put a 5-year-old per Okada. You say, yeah, can't go to school, where you reach, they just put on down. And a man they drive and you put your girl picking, sit down at the Okada, you go, you don't know how they reach now, you say, we can't go no more, you left, huh? You have to say some responsibility then they where you get for take. So we self as government, we know say we get responsibility and we know say there's a lot more to do and we're prepared to do it. And we will do our part. But we also need all man on board. We need the parents there, let them also come on board. Asma, give me 1 minute. I know so you want move on to my brother here, but I'm like continue small. When we start, because we know say this is a collective effort, we create what we call pillar committees. And then pillar committees, then we bring together all players. So when we talk about child protection, we bring all the child protection people then together. We bring the advocates there, we bring NGOs, we bring lawyers, we bring them all together, we bring MDAs, everybody came together. Let we sit down, let we look at waiting we for do. Waiting at the steps then we will for take. We didn't pretend that we have all the answers. We call people then to the table and we say, what do they can do? And now we come up even with the male engagement strategy. Now we come up with the strategies then for response. And now they will come up again with the things that we will do for child protection.
All right, Madam Minister, we go come back to you for can go inside the male engagement proper and the program Good Morning Salone. For Kai, we talk again on the things that we present. You talk about yesterday. One for welcome the press secretary. Good morning, Mr. Yusuf Keketo Masandi.
Good morning, Mrs. James. Good morning, 98. Good morning, family. They listen to me, and thanks very much for having me.
All right, well, David, we will come to you shortly. Let we go to State House and know it's in be happy day yesterday.
Well, inside the press briefing where the president's been all yesterday for update the public, but how far the feds don't go against the coronavirus, the president's been announced say they relax some of the measures them way they don't put in place for tap the coronavirus, but also say measures then they where NACOVAC and other well body workman them they put in place for seeker the coronavirus, although it don't relax some of them. Let we listen to Wani Gauja. We go update you on waiting be happen yesterday in our State House.
Inside March 31st this year, the President, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, be announced the first coronavirus case in the country. And from that same day where he be do the announcements, the coronavirus case them be done they go up and people be done they die. This make the President be put some tight measure them like inter-district lockdown, curfew order, lock we border them and plenty other one them. For tap the sick, not for scatter. But according to reports wey come on a World Health Organization, now that the coronavirus dey with us for at least 1 year or more. Now for this reason, make the President say he see and fit force for relax or measure them.
And reopening the economy and livelihoods, effective immediately. The curfew is adjusted to the period 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. The inter-district lockdown continues to be an important suppression measure. However, it has presented some constraints for Sierra Leoneans. With the following specific conditions, I announce a lifting of the ban on inter-district travel starting on Wednesday, 24th June.
Part of the measure them where President Bio be put in place for tap the signal for scatter, now for lock we border them, and tap flights them, not for Canada the country. But this, the president say he don't think for reopen.
The Trinidad Civil Aviation Authority has had extensive consultations with stakeholders and considered developments in the aviation sector around Africa and in the world. Countries are opening their airspaces. A broader intersectorial body will soon finalize rational, effective, and affordable pre-arrival and departure protocols that are in consonance with best practices elsewhere and WHO guidelines. We'll also soon install technology at the Lunga International Airport to help us monitor, test, and trace all travelers. Once all measures are in place, commercial flight will resume in a very short run. I have initiated engagements with colleagues, heads of state of the Mano River Union countries with a view to discussing and adopting a harmonized approach and common measures on the reopening and monitoring of our common land borders. Once we finalize those discussions, we will open all land borders and crossing points.
For students them, we get for sit public exam them, where the government be don't decide say, then they open school for them inside July, so that they go prepare for begin take them public exam. Even though the president say he do this, the government he say don't put measure them in place for protect teacher and school picking them. The same way school go open for them.
The Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary School, in conjunction with stakeholders, has developed comprehensive health and safety guidelines for teachers, pupils, and their communities for the sole purpose of providing a safe environment for our students who are taking public exams at all levels.
The president self say they look inside church and mosque them open one back.
The interreligious body has just come back to us with their own recommendations as far as churches, mosques are concerned. It is quite comprehensive in terms of their response, and I'm going to give that to the center, the coordinator, and very soon we will come up with those measures that has to be observed in the churches and in the mosques. So that is definitely under consideration.
With all them measure, where government don't relax, people go they wonder if this not go make the sick scatter. But this, the national coordinator for NACOVAC, retired Brigadier Kelly Conte, said and get all them concern under control.
We have increased quite a lot of our capacity to be able to respond to any spike that may come. For instance, our testing capacity has been increased from 200 in March. Now we are within the 450 test range. Bed capacities, for instance, we started with a minimal 30 beds only. We are now close to 700 beds that are available. As we speak, we have half of those beds still unoccupied. So there's a spike, and our surveillance systems are being geared up to do massive testing so that we can see the curve quickly. So all of that has been prepared for, and it took some time for us to look at the data, which informed us to develop some of those capacities. Obviously, we still have some way to go, but we have developed sufficient capacity to be able to cushion any surge that may come up within the next 2 weeks.
The issue of regulation them, we not dey for know how people for cooperate during the state of emergency now concern to plenty people. But this, the Attorney General, Priscilla Schwartz, be make this clear.
There is a difference between the legislature and the executive. The legislature at the time of the passing of the proclamation, by their own procedures, took upon themselves a motion that we must bring regulation before them. That is a parliamentary action. It cannot bind the executive because I was not even there. I was unaware of their own undertaking over which they had no control because regulations in an emergency are entirely within the purview of His Excellency the President, who is head and determines what regulations must come into force. However, I have been working with them and coordinating with them, and as you will know, now that the time is coming for us to get to that point, we have been working together through the regulations that must seek their concurrence if we want to take them beyond 90 days. And the ones we will not be taking beyond 90 days will not even come before them. They will just lapse after that point.
As Radio Democracy go continue for the report on more issue them, we be comot na the press briefing, na status for Radio Democracy. Me na Waniga Oja.
Salone Commercial Bank don't come with new banking products them for make life easy. With Million Online Bank and Million Mobile App, you can able for use Salone Link money transfer for send money to anybody like you not get bank account. Transfer or receive money na the same bank or any other bank. Transfer money to person or office like you not get the account number. Buy Edsalite, pay other bill them, and now get advanced salary. You don't need for worry again, but almost money then you earn. Because you can able for pay for things the way you buy in a supermarket and other shop them with the quick response code payment. Yagbadon done for we boss man them. With Beyond Online Direct, you can upload salary, pay all your supplier them, sell forex to Salone Commercial Bank, and watch your account anytime. If you need the app, download them from Google Play Store or any Apple Store, or go to Salone Commercial Bank website www.slcb.com. Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, delivering value.
Salone gets enforced corona case March 31, 2020. And from that time to now, plenty people don't get this sick. But plenty people same way so done well from the sick. After we then clear them go to treatment center and take good care of them. But the sick still in the country.
Plenty people get message them where they can talk, and some of them message they are not even be true. Now that make Radio Democracy with support from Usiwa, they bring to you special corona update program. Usa go to get accurate information about the coronavirus in the country.
This program going to be every Wednesday, 12 to 1 o'clock afternoon.
And Master Sabi people them from the well body sector and other people themselves go there for tell you body sick.
Right, the program Good Morning Salone they continue, and from that message and the one I just listened. So before that, we've been listening to a report where Waniga Oja put together for SECA. The announcement to the president be made yesterday in a State House to the public as updates as to waiting they happen now to the fight against the coronavirus. And earlier, we been introduced to Yusuf Keke Thomas Sandi when a press secretary in a State House. A day this morning for can explain in detail the thing them where the president been talk yesterday in a State House. As I don't mention, Mr. Sandi, we don't listen to the reports where Waniga Oja puts together, but now you can explain to we waiting the major thing where the president been talk yesterday. But let we start for no force. We still lay I go say at the middle of the fight against the coronavirus. Now the country we see the president to relax some of the measures them will be in place for stop the spread of the virus. Why now?
Well, thank you very much again for having me. We remember say we in our the very few countries that will be late for get an infection. We first what they call the first index case. Because we get the president and the government to be very proactive, we put measures in place for make sure say that before the corona come, we able get the infrastructure, able get the human resource, and get the leadership. Remember, say President Babi go waka na Lunge and the borders them, so it show leadership from the start. Now, added to that, as the first they go on, the WHO president and the WHO director general, we they lead this fight at the WHO level. Don't talk say. If Allah quote exactly with this, he say make no mistake. He say we have a long way to go. This virus will be with us for a long time. Now it means say now even at WHO level, they don't realize say that this coronavirus, sort of virus way they go just overnight. It get for territory. So what's going to happen is that across the world, across countries don't begin out for say okay, how do we make sure say we begin for ease some of the restrictions them, because for we as a country we get small economy, we get small country, but what the president in preoccupation is this, that for now we get two competing interests. In the one hand, one try to see how go stop the spread of coronavirus and save lives, but the other hand also government get responsibility for make sure say we sustain livelihood, support vulnerable people, and also keep the economy for make it become buoyant and make we start back. So those two competing interests, we got to get the balance. How do we get the balance? We don't only get the balance by making sure say we don't fit this fit so far. let us now take a step back and look at the measures they will don't put in place. The one they will not say they no work, will continue them. The one they will not say they don't work, but also they create probably added pressure or inconvenience or burden on people. We see how we go able to say we go able to ease them small bits. So part of that press conference yesterday, now President they give a clear indication because across the world, I mean for put into context this corona effect, we realize say they go they call the worldometer. We are going a small figure. On the worldometer, we get the total cases of people that we don't infected with corona now about 9 million. Over 400,000 people don't die and 5 million people we don't get rid of this coronavirus. But now the worldometer then take about 213 countries and territories across the world. Salone about 119. We mean say, even though we try for this fate, yes, but there are things the way presidents also accept say that we could have done better in terms of them quarantine them, place them, things they would have done better in terms of even the restrictions them. But then you even look at the figures them. So for instance, Yemen for instance, then get a total case of then they 127, then get a case of about over 800. But then you realize say when you look about Yemen, then death case is about 261. So even Salone with about 1,300, but with death case about 55. So even though we get more cases than we don't get over the period of time, but with death case not as high as other countries then. So therefore it means just say we don't put structures and things in place for fight this phase properly. But at the same time, how do we now look at restrictions and make sure we begin for ease? So for instance, let me look practical now about the curfew. Now the curfew be there from 9 to 6. But we realize say we get concerns from the business community then. People away they do their small business, people away they sell and get their hand to mouth. Then get a lot of constraint in terms of at that time they, because for them business not be the go as much as they want them for make it go. So therefore, how do you ease that? The other people back when I work as them. So most people realize say them now do part-time rather than the full-time. But then for instance, if somebody they work, let's say now one beach bar, na beach, then you close at 8 o'clock. You do all the way, let's say for instance, na Wellington. Now for left na beach for go na Wellington, it they take time. But now that also means that during that period in a rush hour. So from 8 o'clock, people will be the Gloucester for transportation. From 8 o'clock, transport will be a serious problem. Then they all in itself, they create inconvenience and burden. So we realize say for shift that time they tweak and small go help people then. But also additionally, for instance, me the SS camp. Now at that time when they that Wilberforce, bottom mango, people in the crowd week in the under for make them go. So all one and they also in terms of social distancing, in terms of the measures, they sometimes counterproductive. So waiting president saying at this that lock push to 11 o'clock. So the businesses themselves go able to get small time for make the business go on, but also then will also change the timing of them closing. So if you close, let's say at 8 now, you get enough time for going you safely, for making no rush and all that thing and then the inter-district. Now we realize say we get what them call the presidential task force. Inside this task force, the honorable vice president and the deputize the president. President don't dispatch and go across districts then. They don't get engagement with stakeholders then, because remember say we get a government and a president we believe say for make we do any measures or change measures, we get to be informed by the data. We get to be informed by the evidence on the ground. So the honorable vice president go across the country, they don't talk to stakeholders then, councils, talk to traditional leaders then, and also realize say one of the major concerns we get are the inter-district. And how do we address that? We can only address that by making sure say we review the inter-district and make sure say now make a lesson board and open up the country small, and I make then two measure their presidency if I make a review.
So upon deciding as to which measures them the president for relax, how consultative the president's been be taken into consideration other sectors than they back when you talk of on a one for allow the economy for begin come up small again, businesses them for open. For example, one aspect of that gets to do with the drivers them, measures they way been said them for reduce the number of passengers them within the take. With that, them be don't raise concern for. So how consultative the president been there for relax the measures here?
Well, like I say, president always been consultative. So I'll give a typical example. So for instance, the opening of the churches and the mosque. Now people in fact they ask yesterday, they say, hey, they try for open everything. What about the mosques and the church? Now the good thing about you in this country, you get the president to be very religious and also really try as much as he can for make you put all the religion for make them play their own part in terms of the governance. we realize say in fact before this press conference now be the people and first way call na state house for go engage them on make we see how go begin open church and mocks them for make we begin praise and worship God now together as community, together as probably people away belong to one sect, now a church or a mosque. Now what do we do? Now that engagement they lead for make them get a frank discussion. In fact, the people away then go, the leaders they would be surprised. They say, "Hey, President, you not be no say you call me at this time." And I say no. It's a part of planning. Also means say we get for engage. And for engage, not to just government for gain instruction, government for see don't want say no more say this for happen tomorrow. No. Because at the end of the day, the beneficiaries or people away get for go through and people away probably they are called non-state actors. So then people they get for come on board, they sit down at the table and say, okay, now this one do as government. What's your suggestion? So part of the engagement they mean say, I just want to give typical example. You want to say how government they engage. So government they engage the motor drivers them through the ministry. So we all get ministry with there in terms of dealing with people in there. So even them church people in there and mosque people in there, now through the Ministry of Social Welfare and then we call them go state house, they engage. Now when they engage, President tell them say make them count proposals how for open the mosque and church. They don't count her now. President don't tell them say he go watch them and government go respond. So in a sense, we get a president we very engaging. The president we always believe say as a government, we are servants of the people. We get for listen more. We also get for react to what people they feel. Now I make most of the things that they do in terms of changes to measures there. Now based on what we feel say the reaction we get from people and make yourself for make we ease the burden on them.
Continue for the between at the studio, Yusuf Keke Thomas and the press secretary in State House. The program they continue.
And the time for studio clock now 9 minutes after 8, and we they come over to the Minister of Gender. We main priority 4 key priority them prevention response, women's economic empowerment and child protection. But inside they again then get a policy who say they don't do a male involvement policy where president be launched. I think this year's International Day of International Women's Day in March. Now tell we what's in the inside this male involvement document where president be launched in March.
Okay, thank you again, Asma. Like I say, when we do this fight against SGBV, now 2 areas of intervention then they for prevent SGBV and for respond to SGBV. All 2 we they do, but we they put a lot of emphasis on prevention because we don't really want time for let it happen. So on prevention, we they use this male engagement strategy. Waiting at the male engagement strategy. The male engagement strategy means say you they target influential man in bobo them na community. By influential, it doesn't necessarily get for mean say you get money, or you can be saying you then you na Okada rider, but you command some respect among you peers. So we select them one and they would train them, for let them go into the community and start for change behavior. When we been launch the International Women's Day, I give example of a footballer where people they not even know him personally, but because he respected and because na man and other bobo and the falaram, everybody begin cut them here the same way as the bobo as the footballer. It's the same principle with male involvement strategy. You select key people them within the community. You train them for let them understand what in SGBV mean and how families then they suffer and how communities then they suffer, and let them understand them and then get a buy-in into it. Once they get them, then they go into the community now and start for change behavior with the messages. Waiting at the difference between man then they do and woman then they do. Research don't show we, evidence don't show we say the man and the bobo they know they yeri waiting the woman and they say they know they take them. It take too long for let them buy into them. The evidence they show say when you send man for go talk to company man, when you send bobo for go talk to company bobo, you get faster return, you get a faster change. Then they listen to them better and then they make the change. So now that day we don't embark on, we don't begin them, but because COVID came, we had to slow down. So because of that day we slow down. But now with the restrictions they lift and we get the understanding for say we get for live with COVID. We they get back to them because COVID might not leave, tomorrow. So we get into waiting of implementing this again. Before you go, Asma, let us talk also about the response side. Because whilst we they do the prevention, it's still happening.
Yeah.
So because it dey still happen, what would they do for respond to when it dey happen? So we don't put a few measures there in place. We get a hotline, we're free 24 hours, where people then they call. But at the same time, across all referral hospitals, we they set up one-stop centers. We don't set up 5, and we're launching the 5 on the 9th of July. Now we they launch them 5 then they. Inside the one-stop center, what do you they get? You they get psychosocial support. The FSU, you no longer go now police. The FSU they come now the one-stop center for get your statement. So therefore you no go day under, because one of the problems that we will get is confidentiality no day. You go na police, you talk, all man they hear you. Now where you can at the one-stop center where the FSU come, confidentiality day. You dey quietly, you talk, nobody no get for no. And police not get for write anything we want for right now. Because what he write, paralegal then at the FSU, where they look am. When he read them, he still say it's okay, then he allow you now for let you sign. So police not get for write any kind of thing. One of the complaints that will be in the camp is that the police reports they're not proper. So therefore it's thrown out of court. The police reports they're not detailed. So that's why it's thrown out of court. So for address stand day, we get paralegal then now where they sit down inside, then go there with inside the one-stop center. So whatever the FSU writes down a statement, then go review them. Then at the same time also, we inside the one-stop center, we do forensic examination and treatment. So that they now be done by the midwives. Actually, as I talk right now, so they're going through the training. So then go do that examination day, and then go provide that treatment.
When you say forensic examination, what do you mean?
Forensic examination means a total examination of you. If you rape somebody and it don't take 2-3 days, I not get semen, I not get me close them sometimes, I don't wash them, I not get them for show you. But if I examine your body, certain thing then deeper your body will go see. Scratch marks, then go deeper you will go see. Sometimes bet mark, then go deeper you will go see. Something then deeper you will go see. We not done day 9 at the forensic examination. Sometimes to wait or to tap you in the process of for coming so slap you in the process of for do all of that in 9. So every single area of you will participate in the rape. So even though we not get the semen, even though we not get some of them close then they na done at the forensic examination. But also what we know back again is Boku of the case they are thrown out of court because of lack of evidence. So for increased evidence, we need DNA. So we now don't set up a task force where go comprise of technical people there for let them tell we this mobile DNA kit we for buy, whose model we for buy, we go work properly in a salon. We been get a model where we share out with partners. Then we want buy and for we. The money is set. It's set aside. It day for buy and for we. But technical people then they say, "It not go work in a salon." That model they not go work with we. We not get the right components that we for fitting with that model. So we don't create a task force. Because we know to the technical people on that. So we don't create a task force, we go get all the technical people, let them go sit down, let them tell we the model because the money is set aside. Let them tell we the model we for buy so that we go buy them because we want one DNA kit na every one-stop center.
Madam Minister, when you talk about the forensic evidence, we like na court ask the people for proof beyond all reasonable doubt and waiting. How una go able for prove beyond all reasonable doubt where sometimes the perpetrator do want to person we so young and not be able for fetam, but you do it you want for do.
Good question, Khadija. And Adande was Khadija Mabel, and Adande make the DNA kits come inside. That's why we push for the DNA kits, and I make one by the correct one we go able for the sample for go use another lab. Also cost something like $1,000 for collect the sample for good one. So because that money they not there with we right now, we're finding a cheaper version that will work exactly the same way. And at that DNA kits, that mobile one day now we look at. We don't look at that day and we for now go get the correct one. We go work well for we with the same results, so that we get the evidence will not go be thrown out of court. So even for address for them picking and so that we get the correct forensic way, it not go be thrown out of court. We don't create this task force. So specialists then go sit down, then go tell we waiting at the model, then go tell we the brand for buy, then we go and buy them.
All right, well, continue for the with we. Now the program, Madam Minister. Well, if you get message on any of the issues that they discussed this morning, we get the press secretary where they talk about the relax of some measures them we President Bill Bindu announced yesterday, and also the Minister of Gender. There, any of the issues them we will discuss this morning, you can send your message to the official number 077-981-981. Well, now they go now police who says police still continue to investigate the late 5-year-old Khadija in alleged rape case. The director of crime services now the Salone police AIG by Maja don't confirm say investigation with police do same way so far pan the late 5-year-old Khadija Sako say 20-year-old Ibrahim Ba we same way so na in brother be tamper with another 8-year-old. Well, AIG Boymaja talked this inside one meeting with the media yesterday. Usai we reporter Princess Pia Spinde and Gonal reports.
Over the weekend, news been a pass na social media, but one 5-year-old girl pikin we been die. Usai dem be alleged say na rape they rape am. This been draw the attention of civil society organization them. We don't effect for girl pikin them because of this attention. Make organization them in protest before High Court and self be meet people within the justice system for make this pikin get justice. For sake of this, make the Sierra Leone police we responsible for protect life and property in the country self be get concern. We make Tuesday, June 23rd, the Sierra Leone police be hold press conference for talk about how far they don't go with the investigation pan this case. AIG Brahmaja, na the director of crime services na the Salone police, be explain about how police come about for nobody's case.
On Thursday, the 18th of June 2020, at 15:39 hours, one Emmanuel High of number 48A, Lower Pipeline off Wilkinson Road, Freetown, reported on behalf of Abubakar Sako, alias Congolese, currently in the United States of America, that on Wednesday, the 17th of June 2020, 2200 hours, he discovered that a 5-year-old daughter of Mr. Sako, Khadija Sako, of number 25 Paul Road, Freetown, while in the care of one Madam Sajabari of the same address, died. And the said death was believed to have been as a result of foul play. So that was the complaint he filed in on behalf of Mr. Sako at Lumley CID.
AIG Brahmaja been continue for talk about the arrest whether they make for sake of this case.
Where the police officers have been able to arrest Ibrahim Ba. Ibrahim Ba is the biological brother of the two victims. I say here the two victims because what has come to light is that Ibrahim Ba sexually abused the 8-year-old of Aissatou Jabi Sako, who is living in the care of Mrs. Aissatou Jabi Kaba, and that investigation is equally ongoing. His age is 20 years. The mother, Maria Masajabari, was the one in whose care the deceased was staying. There is also an Alex Muhammad Nalo, a teacher that was actually teaching the deceased. You know, when cases of this nature happen, the investigation is brought in, and as we progress, it is the investigation that narrows itself down until we reach conclusion. So, and the fourth individual in police custody is one Agnes Jajua, who is not only a tenant, but a maid.
As police on confirm from the investigation we then do, we show say, na the brother to Khadija Sako, we all 5 years, and Aissatou Jabi Sako, we all 8 years, been raped the two sisters them. But wetin really be happen by Aissatou Jabi Sako in case?
She stated in her statement that she was twice being digitally penetrated by Ibrahim Ba, who also is alleged to have sexually abused the deceased. So there is rape there equally. And the first incident occurred when Ibrahim Ba promised her a ranch that let me play with you, that kind of thing. I will give you an orange. And so that was how she accepted, and twice he digitally penetrated her vagina with his finger. And in fact, at the end of the day, he did not even give her the orange promised.
With all of them kind senior, we don't happen at the country. Make the executive director for Kids Advocacy Network, Edmond Fona, say the police and the judiciary for work together as one for ensure say they give justice on this case.
Hope the Sierra Leone police will set precedents. The judiciary will also set precedents. We are not asking for much. All what we are asking for is safe space for women and girls. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, has already done that for us, by amending the Sexual Offences Act. Mm-hmm. So we just need action, and please, the police, we hope that, we are scared, because when we heard this is a family matter, and most cases, when you say family matter, it's hardly prosecuted. So that's why we came out in the street that said we need to put a stop on this, we need to set example, and we trust the police that this time around they will rebrand the force, they will use this to rebrand the force.
Edmond Fona end up calling on government for put mechanism them in place we go tap sexual penetration in the country. For Radio Democracy, Princess Piastri reports.
Better don't come. A Union Trust Bank again. Union Salone Banco. Union Trust Bank get plenty product and service there for you. You must get what you want to go better. Let me savings account, ide. Current account, ide. Fixed deposit account, ide. Credit facility, ide. All for you. Me and you. Union Trust Bank, that's a loan for me and you. Kids Future Savings account, ide. School fee savings account, ide. Pay advance salary scheme there. We branch and they all up but not alone. Boko no kenema, we dey. Kabala mabogo kakambia, we dey. Jala Freetown don't side, we dey. And my lengthy one, me and you. Union Trust Bank, me and you. Union Trust Bank, Union Trust Bank, that's a loan for me and you. Union Salone Banco. Union Trust Bank.
Union Trust Bank, empowering Sierra Leonean businesses. All right, the program Good Morning Salone, they continue, and we they come over to the studio guests and back they come to Yusuf Keke Thomas Sandy, we na the press secretary in our State House. As we continue for look at the measures them where the president don't relax and self some other one them where Senakovac and other body work man for put in place. Let we now look at from the conversations them where don't they happen so far as to discussions upon relaxing them measures here. Now how soon we go see the country open the airspace?
Well, like the president always don't say. These are presidents who believe that we work on evidence, we work with data, and for make sure say because every information. So the important for make government get credibility. Now for make sure say any decision we take be informed by the evidence and the data. So therefore, as we they able get the information and the data and the evidence, we they tell we say at this point in time, now the right time this way we know say probably the spike of the COVID don't lower. Don't reach a point in time where it's manageable way for we make sure say we go able live and continue without any increased risk. I think that will be the time. But obviously we'll not get definite dates because like President said yesterday, the thing about the coronavirus is that before corona now we not be put structures in place for talk say corona go for in the next 1 year, 2 years. So most of it we do now and make sure say we are either being proactive immediately or reacting to waiting to happen. So as a result of that, what do they want for doing now? For make sure say each of the measures will be put in place and look at the spike, look at the cases, we assess them day after day, week after week, month after month, for make we react also to the measures. But the important thing that that around the world now, like I say, the global trend is countries are opening up. In the UK, America, Europe. In fact, I think European Commission then we do a directive to all European countries say on the 8th of June, therefore begin open them borders. Some countries like in France, Germany now, they get this internal border where they don't begin to open, you know. But the important thing that you get a president back, we don't say, we know they get a one-size-fits-all mechanism, not because other countries abroad, they say this will back go down, we see them by the lockdown. One man, they say 2 weeks lockdown, they say no. Let me look at what's applicable to we as a country. So we look at the data we'll get, look at the evidence, and then react to them. But the president is very poised, very determined for make sure say, at the same time we will try for save lives, the same time we will try for make sure say we cut the spread of the coronavirus, but we also make sure say we support livelihoods, we also make sure say we open the economy back, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure say all the development projects that we don't get, where this COVID don't cut and box small bits, we want to get them back on track. And for more get them back on track, we want to get them back on track in a way we get a good balance between making sure say we protect people in terms of the health risk, but also at the same time develop a country. Like I say, president way he take over, then get 5 years. That 5-year mandate, they want to make sure saying in the next couple of years before election, we want to transform this country. And for do so, we want to make COVID and buggery. Because we have beaucoup plan for this country.
So now waiting at the instruction where the president don't give to NACOVAC and other people and where they in charge the fight against the coronavirus, because the space and way open, for example, in districts where like it don't free now people effective today, therefore they go up and down. Waiting at the instruction the president don't give as to waiting for happen, although the space don't open.
Well, the instruction we president don't give, or probably directive we give that whilst we try for make sure say we cut the spread and then save lives and address any issue that we probably can with antecedent to the fight, but at the same time we want to make sure say we do them in a way where not go put people at risk, not go probably make you get any increased spike, because at the end of the day it will be counterproductive if we get measures, you pull measures, they will get anything way negative where they come as a consequence for that measures that we pull. So whilst at the same time we try for, like for instance, the inter-district, but also I know say the coordinator yesterday talk about few measures the way they want put in place. I think they're going to announce detail them in the coming days or probably next week for how they will see say, even though they pull the inter-district, but there has to be compliance measures. For instance, wearing tax, wearing the mask, make you get manifest of people where they go. So at least they're able to do contact tracing if there are cases we're going to increase and then. So we don't only just review the measures there, but also they put in place some make sure say yes, no inter-district, but government is responsible enough for putting in place measures there for making us spread the coronavirus.
Continue for the between at the studio, Yusuf Kaka Thomas Sunday.
They causing confusion.
But this confuse me, boo. Look where Uncle Nat in Wall Solid. Look in block them where them beat for them, where they save solid. And at the same amount of cement and sand then they use for beat me on. But look what in the happen. Me wall down for them, all the block they all don't scatter. It like say some kind of magic they behind this. You want to know the magic behind this? Now the superior quality, extra strong, extra life and extra yield cement where are the use, and that's not Dangote 3X Portland limestone cement. Dangote cement na the highest grade cement in the country, when a 42.5 R grade cement, when no one day come na this country, and na one of the highest grade pan cement where you go get na the wall. Where you want your concrete, wall and block solid, use Dangote 42.5 R cement, you no go regret them. You go get Dangote 42.5 R cement na online shop and building material store na the one whole country.
All right, we continue with the program and we come over to we studio guest again and the Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs. Earlier we been talk body forensic. We can't talk about the women's economic empowerment, how the ministry they work on that. But we talk about forensics and people that they listen. You never know who that go say donate this or make commitment to government, and we be say 20,000 between 15 to 20,000.
Okay.
Now you na dollar would they talk about na million na loans?
Okay, 15 to 20 $1 million for an established forensic lab, and for establish a strong forensic lab. And then when you do establish the lab, you get the kits them where they use for collect the evidence, the sample, the evidence, then the blood, the this for camp for bringer. And they normally can cost even about $1,000. So all of that we get for put as a package. And I know they say necessary for little get them, but what they say is a cheaper version they will do exactly the same thing.
So the one way in question they say $15 to $20 million as a country, we're not able to afford that.
I think it will be difficult.
Why?
And then, because it's a lot of money, and at this time, especially we don't put boku money for fight COVID, we are coming out of dandy now. Members say, they fight COVID, boku money no can't we now we own safe money because everybody they fet in young fet. So now we get for can put now some of your money for kickstart economy, for let economy they move forward. So it might not be something we can do right away. But that is not to say we'll not go able to get DNA testing. We can still do that with a different approach, with a different technology. That other technology they save day, and instead they work exactly the same, and it is cheaper than in a $20,000 roughly for one. We're able to buy one for every one-stop center, so we're able to get 17 across the country. But we need to know the correct model. We'll go work for we in a salon and give we the kind of result we want. Now make the task force is being set up. I also want to talk about our safe homes.
I just want to ask you that.
Yeah. Our safe homes back again. We have safe homes. This is also a call that advocates then they talk about and they ask for. We get safe home in Freetown. We get safe home across the country. We know they use the same model of having an established building where now you call a safe home. Okay. We get down there in Freetown, an established building. But in the provinces, in every district, we get safe home, but it's not an established building.
So it's called safe home?
We get partnership with certain individuals, like fostering. The same kind like a fostering arrangement. Say you get an agreement with a parent or with parents them. You sign where picking sort of in transit for go to an adopted home. When I can, if possible, can make it go did it for a while. It's the same kind of arrangement we do establish. We get down there with reputable people and families across the country. So if a woman needs space, for let it go for go cool off or for go sit down for recharging batteries and plan waiting our next move, there is a place to go. But also, you cannot force the woman to go. If the woman doesn't want to go, we can't force the woman for say, hey, Paopa, you must go for go to this safe home because we get this safe home for you. So all that education day is what we need to do in the parenting training. Where they develop this parenting strategy, where they can talk about all those issues. Then they now we go do now the class then for talk to the parents about what is safe home they about and why they need safe homes.
All right. Then we now look at women's economic empowerment. One of your 4 priorities them now the Ministry of Gender. First of all, what's in our women's economic empowerment?
Okay, women's economic empowerment for we now a sort of a platform on how we build the economic the way how women go get money, the way how to make them economically sustainable. That's mean for we. So we are looking at 2 sort of key approaches. One, now forget formal employment, and then 2, now for build entrepreneurs. So the formal employment, what we try for do is the big organizations them where they recruit a lot. With the then conversations with them, let them give we spaces. Say for example, NACSA they employ 100 people them for the year. We talk to them, let them give we 30 spaces when for women them. Waiting at them criteria. We go around the country, sensitize and get them women then they do a small sort of training for them, and then we present them to the organization for let the organization choose the one that we want. So that's one way, one approach that we want for embark on. The other one is the entrepreneur side of things. Building entrepreneurs. We don't even develop a consortium with the local content agency will be able now to put together, particularly to psychosocial pillar, for make them now begin buy from the made in Sierra Leone rather than they buy from abroad. We bring together the Standards Bureau instead deal with we for use the ECOWAS standards and they accredit them samples there. Once these samples have been accredited by the Standards Bureau for say they are good, they are fit for purpose, they meet the standards of ECOWAS, it means that now we can now give to the EOC for say here we have a consortium where now the produce is cheaper than buying abroad, so we wanna buy from them. So then kind of a project then they now they would start for do building women then from outside and they take them to the next level, of entrepreneurship.
So now already get data of the women they are for both the formal employment and the entrepreneurs.
We are putting the data together for let we know how much women then safe day in work, how much women unemployed way day. We are putting all that data together, and then we also put together the data of the women they now we are entrepreneurs in the different sectors.
Okay, yeah. Continue for the way, Madam Manti Tarawale.
Thank you.
We continue with the program and they go now na court usa the first defense witness na retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte in alleged treason case. CDI at Tunis don't testify na court say the time where retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte been meet am na the state's chief protocoling office na State House and not been see am with any brown bag. For no waiting be happen yesterday na this alleged treason case. Osman Kamara go update we.
Friday, June 19 this year, retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte be start for testifying at court and been done the same day. And later, Justice Alhaji Momoja Stevens be asked lawyer Adrian Fisher where the team up for the state for cross-examine retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte. But lawyer Adrian Fisher be because of time, it go do on June 23rd this year where the court may agree for. Tuesday, June 23rd this year, lawyer Adrian Fisher don't start for cross-examine retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte. And this now some of the question them will lawyer Adrian Fisher be asked. Mr. Conte, you say all what you talk na court, na true? Paulo Conte answer say yes, my lord. Another question. Mr. Conte, you know say you get allegation for misappropriation of public fund. Retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte reply say, no, my lord, not at all. Another question by lawyer Adrian Fisher. Mr. Conte, evidence they way the show say, NAC will command them may misuse 85 billion loans. And Paulo Conte be answer say, not to my knowledge. After this question, lawyer Joseph Fiji Akama be object say, lawyer Adrian Fisher not for ask them question yeah, because it's not necessary to the court. We make Justice Alhaji Momoja Stevens been say, lawyer Adrian Fisher for ask question them for do with the treason case. Because Ebola money not get nothing for do with the treason case. Lawyer Adrian Fisher continue for ask say, Mr. Conte, the reason we make you cry, now because you want to make the court sorry for you. But Justice Alhaji Momoja Stevens be caution lawyer Adrian Fisher and ask them for ask other question them. And lawyer Adrian Fisher be asked again say, Mr. Conte, you know say you get meeting with the president. Why you not left your gun na house? Paulo Conte answer say, na a personal weapon and I no care and gonna state house for President Bio. Lawyer Adrian Fisher carry on for ask say, Mr. Conte, you left the army in 1992 and you know me glady. Paulo Conte answer say, at me age that same day, I know me glady at all. Question, Mr. Conte, you say na you uncle with the late president where they overthrow 1992. You sabi the one day we overthrow him? Paulo Conte answer say, I see the name then a newspaper. And lawyer Adrian Fisher be asked for make Paulo Conte been call the name them. Paulo Conte start for call them. Captain Valentine Strasser, Sarge Musa, Lieutenant Julius Madabio, and other one them. Lawyer Adrian Fisher asks again, you mention President Bio, so now because he overthrow you uncle when the late president, make you gonna state house with gun for revenge? Paulo Conte say, no, my lord, not at all. And lawyer Adrian Fisher may ask plenty question them to retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte. Inside the same case, the first Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, CDI at Tunis, now the second witness where the defense carry go na court for testify inside the alleged treason case where retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte dey stand trial for. CDI at Tunis say a member March 16 this year, e get call from retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte, usa e say President Bill wan for see member dem wey me fet the Ebola sick per one meeting at State House. But CDI at Tunis say e no mean go the meeting the first day because the term wey dem call am me don late. E continue say March 19 this year, e mean go na State House for the second meeting with President Bill for present documents them where the team don put together for fight the coronavirus na Salone. But say e be reach na State House before Paulo Conte, and when he reach, security personnel them bin carry am go na the state chief protocol officer in office for which state President Bill want for see them. And later, Paulo Conte be kind side, but say e no miss no brown bag na retired Major Alfred Paulo Conte in hand. But later, CDI at Tunis say Lieutenant Colonel Posowa bin kind side and ask, Mr. Conte, na you get this brown bag with weapon dey inside? But Paulo Conte be answer before them say, yes, but I left the bag with security them down na the reception and self I get license for am. And later, Lieutenant Colonel Posowa say Paulo Conte not for attend the meeting with President Bill because he get for make statement with the police. But CDI at Tunis say Lieutenant Colonel Posowa bin say e no want for yeri this matter na do or see on social media because he say dem go handle am professional one. The lawyer we been lead CDI at Tunis we him in the testifying a court na Waraseri Kamal. We him in the cross-examine CDI at Tunis. The lawyer for the state, lawyer Adrian Fisher, be asked CDI at Tunis, Mr. Tunis, you no get no idea how Paulo Conte enter State House. CDI at Tunis be answer say, no me lord. Another question, Mr. Tunis, where you reach State House, wetin happen? CDI at Tunis say, dem is search a motorcar and he pass through the metal detector and put in pen and book na the scanning machine and security them mean go with her up. No further question, my lord, says Adrian Fisher. And later, the judge, state prosecuting team, the defense for Paulo Conte, be arranged for Gona State House Wednesday, June 24 this year. For see wetin happen where Paulo Conte be Gona State House and self be adjourn this case to June 26 this year. For the Society for Radio Democracy, Mina Usman Kamara, the report.
Alright, well, back now studio so we they can look at text messages the one I don't send. The time now 8:46. My first message I will read from Hassan Mansour Kabo on Facebook. Madam Minister, preventing sexual violence requires addressing factors at all levels of social ecology, the individual relations, communities, and societal level, also improving monitoring in schools.
This other message say brilliant strategy, Madam Minister, to engage men as champions. Using women exclusively will not solve the problem of sexual and gender-based violence.
Another message from Mohammed say, Mr. Keketoma, thank you very much. Tell President Bill say thank you for where he push the curfew to 11. I was actually expecting till 12, but still not bad.
This other one, they say, Madam Minister, what's the ministry's position on the recent alleged rape incident that ended up to a girl losing her life?
Another message from Paul Kanu on Facebook say, tell the minister for implement strategies for make people fully aware about the Child Rights Act. That's go help greatly. How many people know waiting the act they about? Then get a lot of government recommendations now, MSW, GCA, from a lot of NGOs implementation, and not the problem. Well, it is right for implementation not the problem.
This other one say, Mr. Presexy, on another thing say the ban where governments lift na the area here for travel will cause increase in the coronavirus at the district them.
Francis Franji Joanna on Facebook say this minister is very promising, sounds very knowledgeable of the issues at hand and how to address them.
This other one they ask say, Mr. Presexy, when will the taxi and keke riders start to get their normal passengers instead of the two that the government imposed?
This other message say, may God help we from this corona because they say it get for day with we, But Mr. Press Secretary, please una not forget for the monitor the country, particularly the one them where they go upline.
This other message say, Madam Minister, do we have the trained personnel to work with the forensic lab?
From Kobina Sheikh Kumarani on Facebook say, Madam Minister, what's your ministry is doing to create a friendship with the Minister of Gender in Rwanda to help with some forensic equipment, because in Africa Rwanda is with the highest quality evidence for rape.
Alright, this other one say, Keke, please be specific. When are churches and mosques going to be open? Because the marketplaces are crowded and even overcrowded more than the churches and mosques. So we want to know when.
Enze on Facebook said, the minister is really brilliant. Keep it up, ma'am. Another message say, how una select the woman there, Madam Minister. Again, another message we are going to look at say, he said, thank you, President Bio. We, the night shift workers, glad for this. Okay, Madam Minister, you did explain well from Abu Nakabala. Another message we'll go look at say bravo to the president for easing restrictions on the inter-district lockdown. I hope people will comply to their own parts of the deal. Another message say Mr. Press Secretary, yes, some restrictions have been lifted, but the issue of social distancing and mask wearing is another issue. What are you doing in that regard since you've eased some of the restrictions? The minister is quite in place. Both herself and the tourism are doing extremely, but my opinion is to get the DNA at regional level first and before the other approach in the districts. We get plenty message then, but we don't get time. Madam Minister, you will respond to some of the one they would don't read now.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for listeners for their message there. So, very good message then come across. Child Rights Act for popularize them, definitely a very good idea. Not dandy no more, and also even the Sexual Offences Amendment Act, both of them need to be popularized. So definitely take that on board. That's something that definitely we'll go look into. The position on Khadija Sako, it in the hands of the police now, so one should reserve comments. Let police do the investigation properly, and then go tell we waiting at the investigation that we can start for make comments. Then they respect the family, and we offer again our condolences to the family, and we are standing with them for justice, and we will give all the support that we can to the police in their investigation. The male involvement strategy should be comprehensive in that it should cover relationships, it should cover school and society. I absolutely agree. And when we're talking about for select champions, them it means when we say then go na the community in a school, then go na school go talk. We will say community inside the society. So absolutely, it will be all encompassing. Forensic lab skills, that is also another challenge. We don't have the skills, so then again, now one of the thing, that's why we are going for a different model, a different approach. And then what again we can do, we can look at it in two phases. We can say a short term and a long term. Right now we need something on the ground. So this model, what would they look at? We don't put the task force together for a mobile one. Every one-stop center will get them, and we can use that as a short-term measure. And then later on, we can get a long-term look at a long-term approach where we can get now the forensic lab. But right now, we need something on the ground immediately. And so when we need something immediately, we need, for ensure that we get something we're going to all the one-stop centers.
Before Kanto Keke, somebody they say tell the minister paralegals cannot oversee the work of the police, and that police statements are not thrown out of court. What they need is to train the police on the laws which will guide the investigation process.
Okay, we are not saying that's the override. We say that when they write, waiting they come out now, one of the evidence that what we get is that the statements that the FSU then they write are not comprehensive. For some boku reason, their handwriting, they're not incorrect, they're not eligible, some of the facts then can be missing, whilst now the paralegals know what should be there. So then we'll work together. So that's what we are saying. They work together and they will look at waiting they don't right, waiting the police don't right, help them for fine-tune and for making it go be, get more weight, may go be of quality.
Okay. Well, so you, Mr. Press Secretary.
Well, I want to tell people away text, thank you, because we feel say participating governance means we president our point to always come, they engage people them on waiting at the issues them and also get the responses. Now, the first thing we person ask is say about whether the interdistrict pool not go increase the virus. Well, then they are not go bushuda and tell you say they go increase or not go increase, because that some countries the way they don't pull they don't ease the restrictions. Some countries not increase at all. Some countries don't increase. But like I say, we will continue for monitor. But the important thing is this: what do we do for make sure say that increase they will not go get her? Firstly, we don't strengthen the structural arrangements that we'll get. So, for instance, now we talk about DCOVAC, which are the district COVID-19 emergency response center. So, we don't get at each district, we don't get the structures them in place. They are well resourced. They get the people in there. They get everything there for me to work. So, therefore, it means say, we will open this inter-district now. At every district, they will treat people. If I will talk about regional testing centers, for make sure say back with the test at regional level. Then the back, lots of work they go inside there where government put structures. Remember say recently back we don't get even the resident ministers them as regional coordinators. It means say we put in place structures them for make sure say whatever happens we can able to fight corona at district level, at regional level. Somebody also talk about the passengers them when they go to increase their numbers. Like I say, most of what they do is also based on the evidence and engagement with people. So the Ministry of Transport go engage them on that one day. And then the last one I want to talk about now the fact that the determination of president get for make sure say we country not just be blighted by corona. We also get for make sure say economic activities also there at the front line. But how do we manage that balance there? Now we try to get right now.
Mr. Press Secretary, yesterday we see also before you left, we talk about the meeting where President chair with the company heads of state them. What's that meeting? They be able briefly update we.
Well, briefly we'll talk about say this president will get. We'll make sure say we brand we country, we increase we country image in terms of leadership at international level. So yesterday we all know say the Minister of Finance, when Honorable Jacob Safana, the chairman for the Convergence Council, for which they call the West Africa Monetary Zone, when I block within the ECOWAS. So yesterday, President, when in chair the summit, when of 6 heads of states, we from President Buhari, President of Ghana, Guinea, Liberia, they all be there for the meeting. Now the whole purpose now around the single currency, when at the ECO, we then see how, for instance, because at the 56th ordinary session, ECOWAS we don't see more get the ECO. But now you get other block with the mostly French-speaking countries then we don't go ahead for me then start for begin say then we use the ECO. But therefore now how we from this English-speaking, including Guinea, go able to sit down and okay, would have not agree, let's all come together and say let's get a fixed date more push and go before. But the important thing is this, that at international level, president is respected, president somebody where people in blue say he go lead, where for make world feel proud.
So now waiting at the outcome of that meeting the way the president share.
So the outcome now that president through in leadership, they don't put all the presidents together for make sure say they tell and say a very strong word to the country the way they not French speaking country for tell and say make them wait on the measures the way they want put in place, for make them come back, for make them call other ECOWAS meeting of heads of states, for make them see how they go come together, for make them say they get a definite time for make the ECO when are the currency where them put in place for start.
All right. I gave 2 messages for you, Madam Minister. This the first one they say, Madam Minister,